I'd say to any graduate, anyone coming from college, anyone, when you're starting out, look around for a salon that suits you. Don't think you've got to go to the absolute bee's knees of salons, the top salon in your city or in your village or wherever. Because remember, hairdressing is all about personality. And it may be that you are more comfortable in a more mature salon with more mature clients. It may be you're more comfortable in a really trendy salon that's doing all sorts of funky haircuts and colours. So there are many different salons to suit many different needs. The key thing is you want to make sure that you go into a salon that will further your training. Yeah? So when you go in there, they can offer you more training. They can offer you more things to learn. Because one of the key things, once you've learnt your craft, and again, we touched on this, is your power of communication. And that's when you really start learning, when those paying customers are coming through the door. And that's when your hairdressing goes from this level to that level. I was working in a salon. I was so busy. I was booked up literally 8 weeks ahead. My column was 8 weeks jammed. And I remember at 8:30 in the morning, a client coming, sitting down. She was a bit upset she'd had to wait so long. And she folded her arms and she said to me, "You better be good. I've waited this long." And I thought, oh my goodness. I'm not a machine. I love what I do. The reason I'm booked so far ahead is because people love what I do. And I just kind of felt all of a sudden that pressure to perform for someone who was in such a negative space because A, they'd have to wait, and B, they were expecting miracles. They probably only had 3 hairs and a dead one on their head. And I had to do something with it. And I'll never forget that pressure. And I thought, this is not right. I'm not enjoying this success where I'm so busy that I have to get clients now that are angry at me because I've been that busy. So that was quite a change in the way that I started to look at my hairdressing career. Don't burn bridges. Life's for a long time, God willing, and you don't want to burn those bridges. And I think sitting down with a manager or a manageress and honestly talking to them and saying, listen, I really would like to do more. I feel, can you offer me? Give them an opportunity, give them a chance. And if they feel as though they can't, then you have to look out for yourself to see where the next opportunity is going to come from. That blossomed from a salon group called Alan Paul. They went from 34 salons to 540. I became the artistic director over the largest hair company in the whole of Europe. We had 120 salons in Germany, Belgium, all over the United Kingdom, Scotland and Ireland, Southern and Northern. South Africa, we had 18 salons in South Africa. Harrods, we had a salon in Harrods all of a sudden. So I was the artistic director in charge of educating the educators, because they had a team of educators, and doing their show work and their seminar work. And this is where the relationship with Wella started, because as a large client of Wella, they then started to ask, have we got someone that perhaps could do some work for them? And of course, they put me forward. Well, I started sort of doing long hair. I mean, like we said earlier, I was trained in everything. So my seminars started off with perhaps I might do 2 haircuts, 1 long hair, or 3 haircuts and a long hair as part of an educational package. Then it went down to sort of 2 haircuts, 2 or 3 long hair, down to 1 haircut, 4 or 5 long hair. And then I was doing a very big show, the Close Show Live in Birmingham. And I was asked to do a stage there. And it was for the consumer, so it wasn't to hairdressers. And I thought, well, I can't do hair cutting, it's too intimate, it's too small, and they won't understand it. I know, I'll do my long hair work. Yeah, I'll just do long hair. So I got up on stage and I started doing my long hair work. And someone I respected hugely in the industry at the time who worked for Wella, a gentleman called Bob Stanley, said to me, he said, "Patrick, I was watching you on stage in front of I think it was about 5,000 people. And he said to me, I have never seen someone do long hair the way you've done long hair. And I would strongly suggest that's the path you go down." Now, it was always my passion. I always loved it. And I thought to myself, I think he's onto something. And I felt as though I could take long hair in a direction that no one else had. And I really respected the way that Sassoon were educating. I loved the way they broke things down. So I did that. I took long hair into a whole new level where hairdressers who felt so threatened by it could actually learn it. And that was really the beginning of my long hair story. I think it's because normally when you're doing long hair on a client, the client is in a heightened state. Perhaps she's a bride, so she's nervous. Perhaps she's going to a red carpet event, she's nervous. So whenever you're doing long hair often means a special occasion. And so when you're heightened and your customer's nervous, then it makes you nervous. Is it going to be what they want? Are you happy? And then once again, not knowing the right structure on how to go about it, so often they can overdress it. And so a client at the end goes, I don't like it, or it feels foreign, or it doesn't feel like me. And you know what? And as I always say, we're in the business of making people feel happy. So when a customer says to you, oh my gosh, I hate it, or I don't like it, and they burst out crying, it's like taking a knife and stabbing it into your heart, your creative heart. And that is the most horrendous feeling, is to have a customer who's so upset about what you've done. Because we, every single day of our working life, are making people feel happy. So I think that's threatening. And I think you only need one of those experiences to say, you know what, enough. I'm not going down that road again. I'm not going to do it. So I think that's why there's such a fear of long hair. But hopefully over the years, I've helped to allay some of those fears, conquer some of those fears. I think we follow trends generally. Like, say for argument's sake, we're looking at very deconstructed hair. We're looking at very soft hair, festival hair that's very... So I follow the general trend, but what I do is I then develop techniques that will enable and empower hairdressers to use these techniques in different ways. So again, they're quite timeless. A lot of the stuff that I do is very timeless, and I'll revisit things. Like I've got a collection out called Easy Ponytails and Easy Classics. So I've taken something that I did many years ago that was very complicated and made it very simple. So I'm sometimes revisiting things that I've done, and other times I'm designing whole new things. I think I'm very lucky that people buy into the Patrick Cameron story all over the world. And when you see one of my shows are very much a feel-good factor. I take hairdressing to an area that most people never experience. The costuming is beautiful, the hair is beautiful, the music is beautiful. It's a complete escapism. And I think people who have been to one Patrick Cameron show like to come to another if they have the opportunity to do that, because I sit so differently inside the industry, all sort of, very different, and people enjoy that journey, So for me, it's about that individuality of presenting something that's very much my brand.